This is Mr. Avram Glick, and as you can see, he is walking from his home in the country towards the city of Chelm, where he works. As he does every day, Avram Glick will soon arrive in front of Mr. Ginsburg's delicatessen, and that is where our story begins.
What on earth is wrong with you, Mr. Glick? Every day you stop in front of my deli, and all you do is smell my meats. You are supposed to buy something. New! Buy something already.
I just love the smell of your pastrami, Mr. Ginsburg. And your hot knishes and roasted chicken smell out of this world, too. My mouth waters every time I stop here and smell all the flavors of your delicious foods. But that is all I can afford to do, just to smell them, because I am a poor man. I just can't afford to buy anything from you.
Stop smelling my pastrami. Stop smelling my pastrami.
Mr. Ginsburg shouted.
I don't care if you are poor. You have no right to come to my deli and smell for free without buying anything. It will cost you 5 pennies to smell my foods every time. And now you owe me 5 pennies for smelling my pastrami today. So pay me now.
Well, Mr. Avram Glick was shocked, to say the least. He only had 5 pennies in his pocket, and he needed them to get to work. How was he ever going to pay?
I'm sorry, Mr. Ginsburg. I just cannot pay you.
Oh yeah? Oh yeah? We'll see about that. I'm going to bring charges against you with Rabbi Mendelsohn. Then we'll see just how fast you will pay me.
Now, in Chelm, when 2 Jewish men had a dispute, the matter would be taken to the local rabbi, who would listen carefully to both sides of the matter, and then the rabbi would issue a ruling based on Jewish law, which thereupon became binding on both parties to the dispute.
Rabbi Mendelsohn. This man, Avram Glick, stops by my deli every day, and all he does is smell my food. Can you imagine that? All he does is smell. He never buys anything. I demand that he pays me 5 cents every day for smelling, starting today. So please make him pay me the 5 pennies for smelling my pastrami today.
Rabbi Mendelsohn patiently listened to Mr. Avram Glick's side of the story as well. And then Rabbi Mendelsohn pondered the matter deeply. His mind was going over many Jewish laws that pertain to business dealings. When he arrived at his decision, the good rabbi asked Avram Glick the following question.
Avram, do you have 5 pennies in your pocket now?
That's all I have, Rabbi, and I need them to get to work today.
Well, please give them to me now, Avram.
The good rabbi then put the 5 pennies into a little pouch. Then he put the pouch next to the ear of Mr. Ginsburg, the deli owner, and then he shook them.
What is the rabbi doing?
Asked the deli owner.
In full payment for smelling your delicious foods, Mr. Ginsburg, you are entitled to just listen to the jingling of Mr. Glick's coins. That is my decision. And here are your coins back, Avram. The matter has been decided. Have a good day, gentlemen.
And every day thereafter, whenever Mr. Avram Glick would stop by the deli of Mr. Ginsburg and smell those delicious aromas, he would take out a little pouch and shake the coins inside, for Mr. Ginsburg to appreciate.
The village was inhabited by people who were rather silly at times. How so, you may ask? Well, let us go see what happened when they had their great rooster problem. Every morning around 5 a.m., before the sun came up, the only rooster for miles around would waken from his sleep. The rooster had a very important job to do. Every day, without fail, he got up on the fence and crowed before the sun came up. Now the silly people believed that it was the rooster's crowing that made the sun come up in the morning. Even in the school classroom, the teachers would teach that if the rooster didn't crow, then the sun wouldn't come up. So every day that the sun came up, the silly people of Chelm would say things like,
Is there any village anywhere with such a good rooster as ours?
Look, he's crowing again.
Look, our wonderful rooster is making the sun come up.
Years and years went by until one day the silly people of Chelm heard what they thought was terrible news. Their rooster was too old to crow anymore, and he retired without notice and moved away. They had no rooster anymore.
Who will make the sun rise tomorrow?
Without our rooster, we are doomed to live in darkness.
Our crops won't grow without the sun.
One woman moaned. So the silly people of Chelm decided that to solve their problem, they were going to fool the sun into coming up every morning by having someone in the village pretend that he was a crowing rooster. Before sunrise the next day, different people took turns at sounding like a rooster.
Cock-a-doodle-doo! Cock-a-doodle-doo! Cock-a-doodle-doo!
But the sun did not come up. So the mayor of Chelm said,
Let me try.
and he got up on the fence, and with all his might he crowed and crowed and crowed.
Cock-a-doodle-doo! Cock-a-doodle-doo! Cock-a-doodle-doo!
All of a sudden, there were shouts of joy and cheering. The sun was coming up. The mayor had done it. And so, every day thereafter, very early in the morning, the mayor crowed like a rooster.
Cock-a-doodle-doo! Cock-a-doodle-doo! Cock-a-doodle-doo!
But of course, this is all rather silly because anyone with a brain knows that it is Hashem alone who makes the sun rise every day, and certainly not any crowing rooster, nor the crowing mayor of Chelm. So now you can see the meaning of that blessing we say every morning. Blessed are you, Hashem, who gave the rooster understanding to distinguish between day and night.
The rabbi of Chelm used to make many journeys to other Jewish communities that had no rabbi of their own. During such travels, he would perform weddings, help with bar mitzvahs, and give Torah discourses on Shabbos in these faraway cities. The rabbi of Chelm was taken by horse and wagon, and it was always the same driver who took him. Now, the reception they received upon arriving in these towns was always the same. The rabbi was eagerly anticipated and warmly welcomed by the well-to-do people of the town. And the wagon driver was, for the most part, ignored. The wagon driver was expected to place the tired horses in a barn and sleep there himself, while the rabbi was enjoying all the niceties that each city had to offer. After all, he was a learned rabbi, of which there are few, and there are many, many wagon drivers. On one such journey, the rabbi's wagon driver stopped the wagon and said,
"You know, Rabbi, I have heard every one of your speeches. I know them all by heart perfectly. As a matter of fact, I have numbered them. Do you know that if we were to exchange clothing and places in the wagon, I bet you that I could do as well as you do in this new town that we're going to? I mean, they have never seen us before, and I will prove to you that I can do your job as well as you do, and maybe even better."
The rabbi immediately realized that this unusual development was a test from heaven. The rabbi's pride was being tested. Could he, the rabbi, forgo all the honor that he was used to? Additionally, the wagon driver's pride was also to be tested, as we shall soon see.
Let us do as you say, here and now.
The rabbi insisted.
You will wear my clothes, and I will wear yours. We will exchange places in the wagon. And when we arrive at this new town, you will be the rabbi, and I will be the wagon driver.
And so it was done. As they arrived at this new town, the usual happened. The wagon driver was treated like a rabbi, and the rabbi learned about putting horses in a barn and sleeping there too. Shabbos night, in the shul, the wagon driver delivered speech number 35, word for word, perfect.